Hello, everyone. My name is Richard Boykin. Today, we're going to talk about cybersecurity, how it relates to industry today. Give a little background information about myself. I'm in my final semester at the University of Southern Miss. I graduate next Friday. I've been there, so I think since I've been in this program since 2015. I'm currently an E&I technician for Plains All American Pipeline. I've been with them for about 4 years now, a little over 4 years. I travel all over, but I'm mostly based out of St. James, Louisiana, um, in a little small town near Baton Rouge. Um, I have 13 years experience as a ENI tech. ENI stands for Electrical Instrumentation. However, probably the last 5 or 6 years, I concentrate mostly on PLC and SCADA programming. However, that does require some electrical and instrumentation work at times. Network security has been a big issue lately. This has been a big concentration for myself as a pipeline employee. This is all due to the Colonial Pipeline hack earlier this year. It was a ransomware attack by a group called DarkSide, and they took control of their system and would not release it unless Colonial paid them a ransom. The company did. They paid the ransom, but they had to shut their pipeline that comes from the Louisiana Gulf Coast all the way to the East Coast and supplies those coastal states with fuel. This when the news broke, it caused panic buying, people buying all the gas, and there was no gas coming in. So a lot of gas stations ran out and caused a lot of issues during that span. So me working for a pipeline company, that's been a big uh, big issue and a big concentration for us. The Homeland Security's made new directives for us to and guidelines on what we need to do to improve our systems. And at least from my standpoint, I mostly work with industrial control systems. Industrial control systems are made up of electrical and mechanical. It's a broad term: electrical, mechanical, hydraulic, or pneumatic systems that all work together to accomplish an industrial need or process. How all these kind of work together is from the programmable computers such as PLC, DCS, and SCADA. They are what tells the machines what to do and when to do it. PLC stands for Programmable Logic Controller. DCS stands for Distributed Control System. And SCADA stands for Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition. PLC and DCS are typically local to a machine or an industry, where a SCADA acts more as a remote system. So just give an example: PLC, DCS controlling a pumping station that has valves, pumps, transmitters, meters, what have you. Well, the PLC is making all that work. However, this station is unmanned, so there's a controller that uses a SCADA system to send commands and monitor the equipment and process remotely, and he does that through a SCADA system over, in our case, over satellite communications. So the SCADA system is basically talking to the PLC or DCS at that pumping station, telling it what to do. Because of this and other reasons, these systems for PLCs and these programmable computers require networking capabilities. I've already mentioned SCADA, but remote control panels, if um, if there's a processor at a central location needs to talk to something, 100 feet or needs to control something, um, 200 or 300 yards away, not like SCADA where it's over, 1,000 miles. Remote control panels be, a mile or less than that. There might be a need for a remote control panel that is just the local communication between the processing unit and that control panel. Programming. So if a technician or engineer needs to make programming changes, they would typically connect to that network for these control systems and make those programming changes. Industrial control systems have not really been susceptible for cyber issues until lately. I mean, there's always been a threat, but it's more so an issue than it was probably 10 years ago. The reason for this is because there's been advances in technology and cloud-based systems where companies see benefit in connecting these operational technology devices to the internet and for monitoring data, remote control, what have you. So, problem with that, these control systems have always been air gapped, which means they're not connected to anything outside their network. So the network was just internal, and there was no wireless or wired connection to that network. So the example I'm talking about with the cloud-based system or connected to the internet, there actually is a pathway to these control system networks. Well, there he is trying to get in. Just note some importance of cybersecurity in industrial settings, and some consequences of a possible breach in these control systems. It could be production loss, data breach, remote control of industrial equipment, such as energy or utility, or an intellectual property theft, IP theft. The big one, in my opinion, is the remote control of industrial equipment. Like, to give an example, pipeline. Say a hacker has control of the equipment. That hacker could turn on pumps, bypass shutdowns, close valves, have complete control of that equipment, and cause damage to that equipment, or possibly cause an environmental crisis or loss of life. So in my opinion, that's the big one. Modbus protocol is a communication protocol that's used in all types of industry. When it was developed, it was proprietary to Modicon back in the 1960s. However, now it's an open protocol used in all types of industry. It's made up of two types. There's actually a third, but it's not really used anymore. RTU and TCP are the main ones. RTU is a serial-based networking, and TCP is the Ethernet. RTU is made up of RS-232 and 45, where TCP has an IP address. It is like I said, it's now the most is open source, so it's used industry wide, and it's designed and developed with all types of equipment these days. And then finally, it's registry based, meaning there's no tags or anything. It's just there's just registers, a register database with no programming or logic to it. And that kind of ties in with what the benefits of the security is. There is no programming or logic. It acts as a middleman between um, programmable computers and equipment. There's all kind of stuff none of us will talk to, but in regards to cybersecurity, uh, this is where because it's registry based and it acts as a middleman. There's a gateway. It's kind of a third wheel. If you so if the hacker would actually have to have access to a program, um, and the master is usually talking directly to the programmable computer PLC. So my bus would not him just connected to that network would not be able to directly have access to the program. So he'd have to have another level of access in order to get to the PLC. So therefore, you know, is one of the safer protocols in my opinion. Applied technology and cybersecurity. Um, the major areas of study are business, human capital development, computers and technology, and at least in my catalog, it's industrial engineering. However, I think now it's more human capital development and less and no industrial engineering. Um, how this relates to applied technology, the business courses you take prepares professionals for making the right hires, ethical hires to do the right thing when it comes to cybersecurity, develop teams, develop a team that will be efficient uh, or manage a crisis in case a cybersecurity event were to happen or cybersecurity breach event were to happen. Uh, Human capital development, develop training programs in order to improve these professional skill sets, um, be able to handle how well they work together, and able to analyze how well their training is uh, benefiting them. Computers and technology, name kind of speaks for itself. However, this class was more directed towards Windows-based software, and um, one of the benefits I mentioned in my research paper was if a IT specialist were to be a genius in cybersecurity but however wasn't able to build a PowerPoint presentation, he'd have a hard time justifying cost or the substantial cost in implementing cybersecurity programs or equipment. Industrial engineering, most of these, like I said, cybersecurity is costly, so they're typically projects when new programs or equipment is developed. So industrial engineering would help with the project management, or as a cost, implementation, and um, and how well that project is going, managing that project. Uh, there's ways of protecting your cyber or having cybersecurity protective measures. Um, Firewalls is one. Penetration testing, VPN encryption training. There's more, but I just named a few. Firewall uh, is the process of monitoring network traffic and being able to identify malicious content or suspicious that might be able to cause security issues. Penetration testing is the method of where IT personnel are trying to hack their own system. So it's kind of they're just doing it reversely. So they're wanting to hack their own system to see if anybody else can hack their system. Somebody they wouldn't want to hack their system. VPN encryption with the ongoing pandemic. VPNs are there's with the ongoing pandemic. There's a lot of need for employees to be able to get online with their business enterprise. So, and because of the pandemic, there's people working from home, and when they're connecting to their business networks, there needs to be protection. So therefore, encryption is used, and there's several layers for that. And then also training. Training is important because you can train employees to be able to prevent cyber attacks. So some ways that they can do and best practices that they can use in order to prevent when clicking on links and opening emails that may have some kind of malicious material. And then also bring awareness to the different types of attacks and to know what to look for if there possibly is a cyber breach. Close this out. I just wanted to hope I express some importance to cybersecurity in industrial settings. There will always be unethical people out there trying to disrupt and cause havoc for their own personal gain, and they'll always be improving their skill sets and level of knowledge in IT systems. So it's up to the generation coming up, the new generation, to be able to combat this and improve their skills. So with that said, leave this up to any questions. Anybody? No questions? I appreciate your time, and I hope you enjoyed. And then finally, I wanted to thank Dr. Miner for all the help you've given me over the years. It's been a great program. Thank you for leading such a good program. It's been very helpful, and I appreciate all you've done, and hopefully stay in touch.